I've always been passionate. Some people thought, you know, it's more OCD than anything else.
What I advise people, when I sat down to make a decision, my goal always was I wanted to retire by the time I was 35, right? Period, end of story. And I sold my first company, Micro Solutions, and I was going to be willing to live like a student. I was 20, I just turned 30, I guess. And I bought a lifetime pass in American Airlines and just partied like a rock star. I was getting with as many people as I possibly could and going to as many countries as much as I could and loving life. And that was my goal, right? And then came back and started buying and selling stocks, made another $25 million, whatever, crushing it. Then we started AudioNet, and I financed it out of my pocket till we got big enough where we wanted strategics. And again, on one hand, we were doing 1 million people a day coming in doing multimedia in 1998. 1999. We were doing, when we sold to Yahoo, our last quarter, I think we did 23 million in revenue in $1999. Yeah, I mean, it's shocking the things that we created back then that if I would have patented, it would have been a different world. Pre-roll ads, we started that. Pop-up ads, we called them guaranteed click-through, we started that. Multicast distribution, all kinds of stuff, you know, different ways of connecting servers, writing software around, all kinds. But in my mind, it wasn't about, I wanted to create this huge company. I remember telling our employees, we're going to change, I want to be the next Ted Turner. I want to just change, cable change television. I want to change media. I want all media to be driven online, that it's going to be crazy to think that there aren't going to be more choices online than there are TV. People are going to upload user-generated content, and that's going to change the world, and you know, not the world, the country. I wasn't thinking that big. But more important to me then was my personal freedom. Right? The one thing my dad has always driven to me, the one thing you can't own is time, you know, and the one thing you can't get back is time. And while the part of me wanted an amazing world-class company, a bigger part of me just wanted to see the world, you know, and just experience the world and just love life and just enjoy life. And that was more important to me, and that's what the money enabled. And that's why when, you know, that's why I hedged my stock. I didn't need more, I just wanted more time. You know, because that was everything to me. And so when I talk to entrepreneurs, you have to make a decision what's important to you. Time to go out and do whatever, be whoever you are, help whoever you want to help, raise your family, whatever it is, or do you want to create a world-class company? What is your goal? And you have to understand your goals, and there should always be a price. You know, if it is about selling at some point, what's the price?
When you walk in the room, when you start a business and you start to talk about somebody, you're never in a vacuum with no competition, you know, unless you're just extremely lucky. And if there's going to be competition, that means somebody else knows your business as well as you do when you get started. And if you walk into a competitive environment and they still know more about the business than you do and more about your customers, you're going to lose. But most people don't consider that. They don't do the work. They don't learn more about their industry. They don't know even about their business. I mean, and so you've got to put in the effort to know more about your industry than anybody else. And that's the brains part, and that's the effort part as well. Because look, if you're competing with me, you better know what you're doing, otherwise I'm gonna kick your ass, you know, and you're not gonna outwork me. And so, you know, the combination is usually what kills businesses early on more than anything. You know, alluding to it earlier about entrepreneurs being born or built, you know, and I think I knew I was wired to be excited about business. How or why, I don't know, but you know, and there's certain guys that have the genetics to jump out of the gym, right? There's certain guys, you know, that, you know, when they golf, they have the muscle memory and the discipline. You know, Dirk Nowitzki may not be the most talented guy in the NBA, but his discipline and his focus to do what's necessary to be successful, he's willing to do, and combine it with being 7 feet tall and being skilled, you know, it makes him an amazing basketball player. So it's understanding what your skill set is, finding the right place to use those skills, and then going for it. You know, will that make you 250 grand? It depends if you pick the right industry. But whatever industry you pick, if you outwork everybody, if you try to be a little smarter than everybody, if you try to be a better salesperson than everybody, if you try to be better prepared than everybody, you've got your best chance. Because if you don't do it and somebody else does, you know, I have the saying, work like someone's trying to take it all away from you. You know, I actually work like someone's spending 24 hours, working 24 hours to take it all away from you. And that's kind of the way I look at it. You know, I started my first business when I was 12. I was buying and selling baseball cards, buying and selling stamps, anything I could do to make money, I was hustling and trying to do. So I was into business, but I not so much where it was all my friends were into it with me, so they wouldn't know.
Baseball cards.
Yeah, baseball cards, you name it. I mean, I grew up in Pittsburgh, and so I would, probably even less than 12 years old, I would go out and buy a bunch of baseball cards that I collected, and I would package, I would say, okay, you're guaranteed to have a Pittsburgh Pirate in this package, and I would charge 3 times as much, and I'd set up on this park bench down in the park down in Scott Township where I grew up, and I'd have these little sales, and it was great. I made money, and I mean, it was, you know, and I learned as much about business when I was 9, 10, and 12 as I learned any other time.